Okay.
This is mine, my for school.
There's orange juice and apple juice inside that red bucket, and there's milk in there as well. If you guys want some. Yeah, there's milk in there as well. You can have. And then if it. Right, you don't have to wait for that.
We get through this, we're out of here.
Also, I told them because sometimes at lunchtime they get very, very busy. So I told them that if they feel that they're going to be busy, that we can order lunch at 11:30. That looks very nice, Josh.
There's holes in the cover.
Really? Yeah, why don't you, because I'm gonna need it. You know, when we moved our shed from the house over to where we're at, it was like 4 blocks and he charged us $950. But it's one of those big sheds, you know, the wood shed, $950. It literally took them like 25 minutes.
All right, I think I'm ready.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, he does it by the hour.
Oh, really?
That's what he said, this time, that's what he.
So you're just gonna need to speak up,
Okay.
so that the microphone can
Oh,
get you.
that's cheap.
Okay, so go ahead and say test 1, 2, 3.
Test 1, 2, 3.
You're gonna have to be louder than that.
I'm gonna have to be louder than that.
So Sophie can hear you in the back.
Okay.
Say test 1, 2, 3.
Test 1, 2, 3.
You're gonna have to talk real loud,
I'm gonna
Josh.
have to talk really, really loud so that everyone can hear me. Okay.
Yes.
Oh boy, this is gonna be fun.
Okay, we'll go ahead and start the city budget retreat today at 10:10. Josh?
All right.
I'll hand it to you. Unless you have a pen, I brought my own. I told Sylvia I forgot my pen, but I brought like. Sylvia has a pen.
You should have one here.
All she has is sunflower seeds, huh, Sylvia?
Josh has an extra right there.
That's my backup.
Pins right there.
Josh, hand Diana a green pen. Oh, there.
Okay.
All right,
Are we ready? Okay. So good morning.
Louder.
Louder. Good morning. So-
Good morning.
Yeah. So I just wanted to take a quick second. So we're gonna have an overview of what's going on. So we are going to go through the binder line by line. We will talk about we'll talk about our ARPA money and what we intend for that money, and then some ideas on what we have for it. Then we will break for lunch. Then we are going to have an overview of the fund balances, kind of a graph of the general flow from the past few years. Then we'll go through estimated revenues and expenditures for this year, where we plan on ending. So in our calendar review for the budget, when it's going to get adopted. And then we'll have a Q&A and we will go home if everything seems ship-shape. There's no questions.
Any questions? All right.
And I just want to correct one small thing that he said. We're going to talk about the ARPA funds. We don't have any plans for it, but we're hoping to establish those plans at this meeting.
Okay.
Right.
What time is that?
That happens at 11.
That's it. And if at any point I get too stumbly,
I'm gonna just talk over him.
Jamie's just gonna talk over me. I'm used to it. And
Sorry.
I honestly prefer it, so.
It's okay, because you're still learning this
Yeah,
process.
I'm gonna
Josh,
do
so.
my best, so here we go. Okay, so if everybody has the binder open.
First
So the
tab.
First page is just the table of contents, our next tab. So is our
Louder.
budget. Okay. So this is our budget calendar. Obviously, we're all the way to the 16th already. So we've done all of these other things to present the first part to council. We've talked to the mayor, we've talked to our department heads and got things kind of sort of squared away so that we know where we're at, we know how much money we're gonna spend through the end of the year. We are to October 16th, the council budget workshop. After this, we will have the preliminary budget available on the 26th for the public. And then we will start our public hearings to make sure that the public knows what's going on and they have the right to comment and have their say if that's what they so choose. November 23rd, we will have our property tax levy as usual set by ordinance. The adoption of budget 2022, and then the first meeting in December, we will have the amendment for the year. In case there was anything that we weren't quite in line with from our budget last year. And that should be it. We should be set to move forward. So, next page. So this page is where the budget message will go. The budget message is in process still, because of course we're going to take the feedback that we get from our conversation today and put that in for the public. So that's where that's going. So this is our ordinance. Our ordinance basically,
Josh,
yes, ma'am.
let's go back.
Okay.
Just to review. for
Okay.
everybody.
Okay.
What is, explain exactly what the budget, what do we call it?
Budget message.
Budget message is.
Okay,
Can
so-
you just explain a little bit what
So,
that is?
so the budget message is going to give us a clear picture from what our revenues and expenditures were for the year. It's gonna spell out some of our key points, what it is we're trying to accomplish for the next year. So that then if someone were to come in and ask for it, or so that it's available to the public, they can see sort of a snapshot. Okay, this is what the city's trying to do. This is what we're going to accomplish. And this is how much money it's gonna take us to get there. So,
And as the council, you guys set the policy. So that budget message rounds out what you guys decide you want to do for this year. So if you'll recall, our budget message from last year was really about getting the financials kind of back in order and working on reducing some of those funds that are in the negative. And this year, it'll probably talk a lot about ARPA money and then some of the same things. And probably one of our things we're going to really talk about is revenues in the utilities, because as we've talked about at council's meetings before, our revenues are not keeping up with our expenses. So, yes.
Okay, thank you, Justin.
And also the budget message is a required component of a budget by RCW. So this is an important piece that the state government requires us to have as part of our budget to tell people what we're doing.
So for example, this is gonna say something like, for the year 2022, these are the goals for the city of Manta. These are what we're
Yes.
trying to accomplish in this next year.
Yep.
Right?
100%.
and then, of course, so this is the draft of the ordinance. The main thing about this ordinance is showing when it was that everything was posted to the public, because of course, the budget, just like everything in city life, is a matter of public record. So this is just the draft, because we'll have to have the final numbers on everything for it. But that first page, the main thing is that it's showing us when did we actually publish that to the paper, so that we can say that they legally had the right to see everything and when it's going to happen. So that's what that one is. And then like I said, the second page is again just another overview, trying to make it so that people can see and understand, simply what it is that's going on without having to, you don't necessarily have to know it all to see it and understand where things are going in and out of.
But this is our proposed budget at this point. So the numbers on this page 4 of your binder, is what we have filled in for our proposed budget so far for 2022. And so the numbers include both the estimated expenditures and the ending fund balance. So that would be your full appropriation for 2022 as it sits right now, but it's still preliminary. So it'll be adjusted. This page will be changed out as we get farther in the process.
So this is just some basic terms and understanding of things. So that we can understand where money's coming from, where it's going, what the numbers actually mean. So obviously, so the reporting entity, that is us. We're the city of Mapping, incorporated in 1905. And then it just gives us a breakdown of who we are, what we do, and what services we provide to the public. So that's what that's for.
This also is a required portion based on RCW to explain how governmental fund accounting is processed in the state of Washington. We are a cash basis government, which is different than normal GAAP, generally approved accounting processes that people use kind of worldwide. Cash basis does not use accruals. So this kind of explains how the state auditor's office comes up with the accounting practices that the city has to maintain. So all of that detail is in these next few pages. And we can touch base with some of them if you want to, or we can just kind of skim over it. It's a little bit of a dry read, but.
You guys have any questions on any of this? On the refund classification or the expenditure classification?
Yeah, bars is the budgeting, accounting, reporting system that's set by RCW, WAC, and the state auditor's office. So the way that we account for revenues and expenditures is determined by the state of Washington. And we have to follow all of the rules that everyone in the whole state has to follow for governmental accounting.
Tell me what it BAR stands for one more time.
Budgeting, accounting, reporting, services. And yeah, I think so. Budgeting, accounting, and reporting services.
Yeah, and those numbers are uniform to make sure that we and every other city are in the same classification. So that then when somebody comes in, like the auditor's office comes in to audit, they can see that our number should be the same as Sunnyside's number or Grandview's number, because they're mandated that they follow that.
And when he talks about numbers, he means fund numbers.
Fund numbers.
So like all of our utilities all have to be coded accounting wise in the same way, so that somebody could take a snapshot of our accounting for our water fund and compare it to any other government's accounting for their water fund. And that allows for citizens of the state and elected officials to really look at a comparison for how things are run in different places, and understand the way that the city functions.
So what you're saying is like where it says on page 5, where it says general fund 001.
Mhm.
Our 001 is 001, Sunnyside 001, Grammy, everybody is 001.
Correct.
Okay. So nobody's different, all of us have the same thing.
That's correct.
So if the question is like, few questions are from the bottom, we could actually compare doing this with Sunnyside or somebody if they wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, and local governments are required to keep all of those funds separate. So if you flip to page 6, under proprietary fund types near the top, it's the 400s through the 500s. So enterprise funds are what our utility funds are. An enterprise fund is run more like a business. the rates, this is kind of, remember the discussion we had?
Right on this?
Yeah, absolutely. This is your binder.
Yeah.
And you should have some scratch paper too. So
Yeah, I do have that there,
So these enterprise funds are what we have to use to account for any of our enterprises, which are like more like a business, like I said. So if you'll recall, when we were talking about the sewer fund being upside down and whether we could use general fund to transfer money in there. And the auditor's office came back and said, no, really, you can't. Because it's an enterprise fund, the fund is supposed to be supported by user fees. So we really shouldn't be taking money from other places in the government to be supporting that fund. That fund's rates need to be set in a way to support itself. The same with the water fund and the garbage fund. So
that
when
would be
people
water,
pay,
sewer and garbage. Those are the
Correct.
three funds. So
and they're
what
all
you're-
separate from each
so
other.
What you're saying is like, the way it should be is the city is paying $200. The person pays $190. So it's not covering the $200. So now the city is going in the hole. I'm using it just as an example.
Right, yeah.
Let's say the rate is, should be $200, but our rate is $190.
Mhm.
So every month the city has to take $10 out of our,
Right,
out of somewhere that we don't have the money
And that's
to
what's
cover that.
been happening
right.
in the sewer fund. And what we're dealing with in the water fund a little bit as well, as we talked about at previous council meetings, where because of the debt load in the water fund, that fund is overspending itself by like, I want to say it was $40,000 this last year is what it's looking like. So our rates are not keeping up with our expenditures.
right? That's the debt of the first of water and rights, now we get a sewer, well, and that kind of stuff.
Yes,
But-
yeah.
The water rights we purchased, we have so much time to pay it off. We only
Correct.
pay it off at once.
It's-
So,
No, we're not behind on our payment. Well, we were behind on our payments when I started, but we're not now. But the highest debt payments we have are for our DWSRF loans. Those were taken out in conjunction with that entire water system overhaul that we did starting, I think, in 2016. Is that when?
Yes.
I wasn't here. And so that included putting in well 6, replacing water mains, buying those water rights. All of that was tied together with USDA and WDW, Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, WDSRF. DWSRF. Thank you. I'm like, why doesn't that sound right? So we got a package of different funds to help support that project. That package included grants from the USDA, US Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, and loans from DWSRF and USDA. And I believe that we also had a CDBG grant involved in that process as well. So all those different funding organizations came together to give us a big chunk of money, but the biggest chunk of money had to be paid back. So USDA gave us a real big chunk, and they allow us to pay back over 40 years. But the department, or the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, I think only gives you a 20-year payback. And so those payments are pretty significant. And we're about a quarter of the way through them.
that way, we're upside down. Because of the
Yeah.
20 years we have to pay that.
Correct. So
And when all of that was going on, there was a rate study done, and that's when the city, raised the water bill, and then 3 months later, something, they raised it again. And they thought at that point, okay, if we do it this way, it's gonna keep us even. But at the end of the day, we're still below what we needed to be in order to come even with all of that. And even though we did get huge raises back then, it just, in the book, they thought, okay, this is what we need to do to sustain it. But in reality, we're still falling short of that, all of that in the past. What's happening now in the future, most of it's grant money. But that really did hurt us. And that's really what when I come in 2018, why so much was underwater. And we were so far underwater because we still have to pay that bill even if we don't get full pay from the person. So if we're charging somebody 107, let's say $50 for their water, and it's really costing them $55, we're eating that $5, we're paying.
And so that's coming out of places it's not supposed to come out of, like the property tax. Part that, that's part of it, maybe in the, like the immediate little snapshot, but in the bigger picture, that's not really the big issue. And also, you know, I've discussed rates and I am still working on your guys' rate study. I know I'm not working full-time for Mabton anymore, but I do work on that rate study when I get time. But rates need to be mutable. They need to be changeable based on the environment because things go up in price. Inflation happens. And so the way historically the rates have been handled here is to just do like that, like just throw $3 on top, you know, and that's a lot for people at one time versus if we were to tie it to like this consumer price index or just automatically say every year we're going to do a 2% increase. You know what I mean? For forever to keep up with inflation, or if inflation is less than 1%, then we'll go with the amount of inflation. Otherwise we'll go 1% or something. You know what I mean? And those are the kinds of things I hope that we can at some point get into place so that we're not always hitting the citizens over the head with a rate increase, a big rate increase instead of smaller, steady increases that helps them budget and helps us budget as well.
I know you all, but you guys think send out a flyer to every resident because they always question why our water bill or our water and so on. Would it be beneficial to them, or do you think people have time to actually explain part of that, like why our bills, what we've done, why, like the sewer system, the wells, the reserve and all that, that's why. I mean, I know we tell them that, but they don't believe. Yeah, it's just like if they see it and they see the numbers, and stuff, you think it'd make a difference? I don't know.
I would hope that it would, but we invite them to our meetings all the time. And right now, we have all of these meetings are available online that we've talked about, all of these issues. So,
But the difference is, if I don't get cut off, they're not gonna come to our meetings. They don't get, I've never been on our website. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I apologize. But if it's in their bill, well, but maybe they.
but you're outlining exactly the issues, you know?
But I noticed that when they look at it, they just, it's 100.
Yeah.
But they think the water is 100. The water is not 100.
Even if we did that,
You have to, why can't we separate water and I put the garbage separated?
It is, yeah.
Separated on there.
No, but I mean.
On the bill.
No, I know it's a bar, but I mean, kind of like space it quite a bit and then make another bar, so they can see the, because they're all close, you know,
Yeah.
Maybe gold letters, water, gold letters, sewer, gold, something. Gold tax. Maybe just a gold word, maybe just a word, water, sewer, garbage. Yeah.
how many times we told them that it's like that?
And it's been like, I mean, the bill's been like that for up to years.
Yeah.
I think that this is an important discussion. And it is a long-term problem for all communities. This is not just our community. People don't understand government spending. And also we all know very well because of things that get said in our community. There is a lot of suspicion around government spending and how people spend money and who's watching over the spending. And it's all in place. We have it. That is why staff is so important in maintaining longevity of your staff, because elected officials come and go, but your staff is the people that are here watching those numbers, knowing your system, keeping track of those bottom lines, talking to the auditors every year to make sure that everything is above the board. When you don't have that longevity of staff, this is one of the reasons why our books got so screwed up. You know, back in 2016 really is when it kind of went downhill, I think, from the records that I can see. And we had a lot of turnover. Yeah.
Yes, it wasn't overseeing what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Well, in 2015, there wasn't even any books, so there weren't any statements.
So
2015?
Yeah, there was no statements at all. to
Well,
the-
I know that it probably solved change.
I'm always happy, and I've said since I worked there, I'd be happy to meet with people, to talk to people, to explain it. I am a dork when it comes to this. I like it. I like to explain it to people. And so I think maybe, I mean, I could put some, so there's a couple of required reports that we have to file every year anyways. There's the consumer confidence report for water that's required by the Department of Health. And that does outline what's going on with your water system, all of your sort of testing and what your revenues and all of that are. There's your water use efficiency report. These are things that go out every year and they're not getting read either, you know? So yes, I'd be happy to, if the council wanted me to work with Josh to prepare a report, we can definitely do that. And if that's something the council wants to spend money on to get that sent out to people, if you think it would be beneficial. Yeah.
I volunteer coming over and stuff, but
And it doesn't have to be every month.
no, just once, even just one, for it to be more open with the public. And be able to say, we're trying to understand.
Well,
Is the.
How about this? What if we were to design, because we actually send our bills to the printer now. We don't print them in-house.
So this is.
But-
question. I had $160 water bill one day, a $280 this month. Okay, I go in and ask. I'm
Yeah.
curious. And I found out why. But you get people like Tony who come, if he got us 160 one month and a 280, and I said, what do you think he's gonna say to you?
He's saying you're ripping us off.
Yeah. So, so that's what I'm just
So,
trying to.
so what was the reasoning on that?
Mine didn't get read.
Oh,
I think
neither
that-
did I.
So I got the minimum.
I think that specific month, she had the dumpster.
No, I don't have.
No,
It
that,
doesn't matter why.
Okay.
no, that big,
That's what I'm saying, it might have been blocked.
No, my dumpster was paid straight to that.
no,
It was
that's,
covered.
your
No, it
dumpster was
wasn't
covered,
covered.
no? Oh.
It doesn't matter
It just
why.
didn't get
I'm
read.
just explaining, I'm trying to use it as an example.
I know.
It's a car park underneath.
That's fine. It just didn't get read.
But there was a reason it
Right.
didn't get read, not because someone. Well, we looked it up and you didn't find it, and didn't go. Remember you looked it up for me,
So-
and I asked you,
Right, and I was,
and you looked it up to see if there was a receipt, did you find one?
so I did not find the paperwork that had it, but I'm pretty sure there was a car parked on the meter. So.
Okay,
But
okay.
anyway,
Can we,
let's go with that one,
Let's rewind
yeah.
that and go
Anyway,
back to
okay,
this-
sorry.
this, okay?
Yeah, so just now the city guys are speaking.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'll let you go.
But that is
Anyway.
a true statement,
Yeah,
because, I mean, that is a
Well,
true
the
statement.
citizens don't understand what's going on.
Right.
And, I would ask. I did ask.
so what I was trying to say was that the billing company can send out a back page. So we could design a back page that would sort of detail how bills are calculated. And we could make that just be a standard on every bill. It would increase the amount of, right, so it does cost more, but we can look into the amount of that and get back to you. It's more cost effective, honestly.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
more cost effective because this company mails them out themselves. So we're not buying posting directly. We're not taking up staff time. And the cost of printing is actually cheaper than to print it on our own machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
yeah, because it's like a full, yeah, because it's like a full day and a half of staff time, I mean, to get them stuff, full, yeah, folded and filled and all that stuff, and then you have to buy the form, and then and yeah, it's just more feasible to let them print it.
Let us know what's going on.
Yeah.
That's just to print that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in a meeting, oh, we're not doing this anymore, it's come more process time to do this.
Yeah.
And that's something that, I mean, like, you know, we've all been in the city a long time,
Yeah.
you know, and we've all lived in the city a really long time. No, I haven't. And I really have to say that the staff really does watch our back and watch the numbers and watch the legal end of everything,
You know, maybe at
And
this
it's really
council
not.
meeting, we'll bring that up, and it's on camera, people can hear now. We change to this, it's more, it's cheaper, more cost effective to do this. I say it's not good. Yeah,
Well,
that's the problem.
I-
They don't, when it comes to the meeting, they don't
Exactly.
have the conclusion, and then the story gets.
Exactly, yeah.
There is a ton of things that go on in city government that people don't understand. And the truth is, people are never going to understand it unless they make an effort to understand it, right?
When I first started with this council, and there were things going on, I said, "Like, what the council meeting? What the heck's going on?" And that's how I got.
So, yeah, my personal like feeling on it is just for us to maintain trying to be as open as possible to discuss the issues as they come up with the individuals when they're interested. Because when you try to, throw things at them, unless they're personally affected, like you with your bill, Vera, unless you're personally affected, you don't care.
Yeah.
Until you feel it, like with the garbage issues where you both of you ladies had to pay all those back arrears. Until you personally felt that, or you knew somebody who did, it probably never crossed your mind, And so you see people showing up to work at City Hall and you see them going home at 5 every day and you think, oh, what a waste of money. You know what I mean? But you don't realize like all of the stuff that goes on in the building just to make sure that you guys that the citizens have, clean water and their bills get paid on time. So.
Josh, did this week, it was like, right from 8 o'clock at night.
Mhm.
Was it last night?
Last night about 11, yeah, about 11:45, so.
I'd like to
But-
put that on the record too. Josh has been putting in so many
Yeah.
hours.
I was-
You know, because he's,
Trying to catch up, yeah, trying to get things figured out. Mhm. Well, so to start with, you gotta keep in mind, I was 2 people. I had to be the guy in the front, at the front counter until somebody actually got hired, and then I was trying to be the city treasurer. So I was doing that job by day, and then I was doing the city treasurer's job by night, exactly. And then trying to figure it out as you go along. It's gonna take me longer to do it at first until I figure out how to do it. So, I mean, it's like, it took 8 hours, then it took 6 hours, then now I'm down to like 4.5 hours that it takes me to do the payables. But it's just, and you just, there's only one way to do it.
Something happens during the day that.
Right,
Something happened
Exactly.
at work that you have to say, like that day I saw him,
Mhm.
something happened at work, I had to go out and help carry mail, so I got off at 7:30, and I
Right.
drove home, and I said, "Hey, Doc,
Mhm.
we're at 8 o'clock." Yeah, so something's happening sometimes that you have to say.
close, yeah.
and now that we do have a staff downstairs, then now he really is buckling down and now he can just focus on.
Able to figure it out.
Not right
No,
now.
Not yet.
I will answer that question because they're both parties. One started before the other one, and so once they feel comfortable doing the job, and they're going to switch from 12 to 1. One's going to take 1 to 12. and one's
We're
gonna take
taking
1
lunch
to
break.
right now.
Yeah.
because we are-
Well, all I had to do
Yeah.
was take money from the bill.
Honestly, they learn fast.
No, that's not true.
I've-
There's a lot of sources. of money.
Yeah.
It's not just paying the utility, and it goes to longer information, to them, and then it comes back on.
That's where it hits first,
Yeah.
But she didn't, and she had to look for bill up and have it, so. She knew how to do whatever.
Yeah, they're all getting very, I mean, they're both doing very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys have to understand, government work is completely different from where they come from. And you have clerical skills, but
You have to have the
knowledge,
knowledge, like how.
because that's why we're. So they're gonna be.
And we really want to train them where they're gonna do things right at the beginning. So there's not gonna be any lawsuits, any crap, and we're training them that, because lots of people call in, complaining, well, I heard this, right now, well, I heard this,
And that's why, because people can pay their utility online, drop off, but right now with election, we're overwhelmed. One person after another.
Pretty crazy. The phone rings probably. Because somebody asking a question about something. So, and they don't really know, we just tell them, you don't answer those questions, you direct it to Sylvia, you
Or you
direct
just
it to
say,
Josh,
sorry,
you
I'll
direct
put the
it to-
message and I'll put it out to you, yeah.
But it's really hard sometimes, because they just don't know, like when I was asked, I just didn't know what to do, just kept going and saying all this stuff, I didn't want to be rude and say, I gotta go, and I said, well, in a situation like that, you just tell, well, you're telling me stuff I don't understand, I'll give the message to Mayor, or I'll give the message to Sylvia. To
Or
tell you
just
that.
say, I'm sorry, I'll take the message down and I'll let somebody know and then we'll get back to you.
Yeah, but it's really hard for some people because they won't, you know.
Get stop. Sorry. Okay.
Well, this conversation actually really does a good segue into the next thing we need to talk about. So, which is staffing.
Look at that. Okay.
Took us right in there.
Right, here we go.
So that's after the second tab. It's page 9.
It's a clear path.
Yeah, well, stop. What's my last name?
Where are
No
Oh,
double L. Single L.
Or 10.
you? But when you say like.
No,
Yeah.
double L is yo.
Uh-oh.
I think I take
Okay.
responsibility
So
for that. I'm
then-
sorry.
We're great. Ethan.
So,
Kick that moving forward, yeah.
So we'll correct that before the final.
yes, apologies. Josh, where's the salary schedule? All right. So if you'll look at page 9, our key staff down there at the bottom, right now, we don't have a police chief. So I know that that's still an issue that's going on. With Josh being the interim, there's still some stuff that's unset, we don't know what really is gonna happen with all of that, but he's doing a great job so far. If you'll go to the next page, page 10,
I know when we used to get nothing, we used to take it all the time.
Yeah, I can request.
I mean, I did just, maybe not every.
Yeah, at least
maybe
once a
once
month.
in a while, but
At least once a month. Yeah.
I always wonder how many
Every
times.
month.
Just a little bit.
yeah. I'm gonna let Josh take over on page 10.
Okay. So this is our city's organizational chart. So it has moved around just a little bit from last year. But the difference is the addition of the public works director there. So that's a different, so that's different than we've seen in the past, but you can see the flow of things. Of course, there's the mayor and council co-captains handling things put together, then it goes down into our, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay, so they said what the work, what this is under, that's their duty.
Correct, yes, ma'am, yep, those are their responsibilities, yep. And so then it comes down into our management level staff, so that's our city clerk, city treasurer, public works director now. So obviously city clerk, all things city treasurer, all things money, public works director, all things grass, water, sewer, everything that happens outside. Correct, ma'am, yep. So,
Everything on the list.
so basic, all of your outside maintenance, pretty much if it happens outside, it's the public works director's concern, the water system, the sewer system, the cemetery.
No, that.
No. That's,
That's over here.
Is on public works. That's why I'm asking. Because I know they always come to the.
The very last one.
garbage service.
Well,
I just wonder.
garbage service is considered a public work, but
Mhm.
contracting is all taken care of under the city clerk.
So you need
So
to
we just
scratch
scratch
that
off
off.
contract.
Yeah.
This is on contract.
Yeah,
So, Ron is supposed, where is he at? Is he over there at the? The wastewater, the wastewater, he's not, he reports to wastewater, over, oversees the one. So who's there all the time?
You can't say that. So we have an employee training wastewater one, and he does most of the stuff there. And then Juan comes in, Juan like helps make sure that all the testing is done. And then if
How can we say that his name was?
This is management.
he's not a CDA,
Oh,
he's a contracted employee.
Oh,
So as long as they're contracted, we can say their name like this, because we're talking about this. So, and he does the same with the water. We have somebody doing water one, and they do most of the stuff, Juan oversees them. If there's any maintenance that's being done, like they have to pull a pump, or there's a lot of things that as a one, they can't do yet, so Juan has to do it. in wastewater. He has to be the one wasting. Well, he's, put his name in for a test. He's already on the list, on the thing to take his test. He signed a couple weeks ago, he signed up, and then water as well. No, you have to be like, under like somebody's authority for a year before you can be qualified to take the first test. And when he was first starting out there, there was really nobody, there was someone.
Yeah, that's fine. And can you ask her to print
Right.
another thing for us? Because I'm gonna print 10 copies of this.
Well, no, because he started with the guy with contract.
Oh, that's.
So that guy, I can't say his name. 'cause he's
Well,
not-
however many,
So none of
yeah.
our employees are working in the water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have one guy that works wastewater and one guy that works water, which is drinking water. And then one oversees both of them to make sure everything is being done correct. Because Juan holds all the certificates.
When
for our
they're,
city.
when they're get that, and get all that in our money in our positions, that's something we're gonna change. Salary.
I'm printing the salary schedule. I do apologize. We thought we had that in there, but we're gonna have them.
I'm just.
So we can actually-
That's gonna be certified now.
Right.
Okay.
We're gonna take a little break and print a salary schedule.
No, I don't think that's correct. Okay, so let's just take a little.
Let's take a-
just- Yeah, 10 minute
I
break.
didn't hear any of that.
But.
I didn't hear anything, Jamie, what you said.
Oh, we're gonna print the salary schedule because we didn't get it in the binder somehow.
And I think with the CBA, it's not like that anymore, where they don't give raises for this and raises for that and raises for this. Now it's just, they're level one, I mean, schedule 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
With the
So,
time with it.
right, so I don't think. for
I'm gonna
water
print it.
one,
You'll
right?
see it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure for a water one and a wastewater one, there's no difference in pay. I think it's all just their schedule 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. But let's,
It's the right
I'm really good, and it got cold fast, it's been cold in here.
oh, my shoulder hurts so very bad. Oh.
I just sent it to her.
And I just, here, I can slug you the other shoulder.
No.
And then the
So
legs,
we even, so you'll go like this.
It's because of that stupid shot. And last night
Oh, yeah, it's getting sore.
I went to roll over because I sleep with this arm up. And I was like half asleep and I rolled over and put my, and it's like, oh.